Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I am here with a message for you. Now, as you noticed, there are already 2 cards down because I started this reading and then my son had an emergency interruption, and I really don't want to try to edit and merge the two by starting, picking up exactly where I left off. So I decided to just start over, and I didn't get very far. As you can see, the Page of Wands was the card under the deck, and I decided to take that out to put on the table, and the Queen of Wands was just the first card out of the shuffle. So here we go. Hope you're doing well, as I always say in my videos, and that your day's off to a good start, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. Let's jump right back into the message, okay? I even consider starting all the way over, but I don't think so. I felt a certain energy on this interruption that may have almost been an interference that I need to curve. So rather than reshuffling and starting all the way fresh, I'm going to keep going in exactly the vein that I started in, okay? So the Page of Wands was under the deck, and that's about a message about a new opportunity, it could be fresh inspiration, it could be an invitation to a new adventure. But one thing that I usually see about the Page of Wands is that it's a matter of self-discovery of something astonishing within you, something astonishing about your identity, your ability, a new talent, some new creative expression or inspiration to expand an existing expression of yourself in a way that you never quite saw before, so it almost feels like fresh eyes into your soul, so to speak, because you're seeing yourself in ways that either you are new and are completely fresh, or in ways, and 9 times out of 10, as they say, there's nothing new under the sun, right? But for the most part, it may not even be that it's altogether new, but just maybe new to you, something that's been lying dormant within your being that kind of flew under the radar of your awareness, and now it's like maybe just the time for it to be awakened, for you to pull that creativity out of your arsenal for whatever, or something else, some other inspiration may spark an awakening of sorts of inspiration within you. Whatever it is, it's leading now to the Queen of Wands, and with the Queen of Wands, the Queen is a master of, there's a certain inflection of maturity with any of the royal suits, right? So the Queen of Wands, sharing that same suit of wands, more or less has like a stabilized creativity. Of course, with fire energy, it can be quite unpredictable. They're prone to following adventures and being particularly seeking. I was about to say thoughtful. Is that even a word? I like it if it is. I was going to say particularly thoughtful of new things to explore, new adventures, new explorations, even internally speaking, new excitement, but it's still the Queen who gives the inflection that there's still a grounding and an establishment of who she is creatively, maybe even being focused in a singular way, particularly, or in one more streamlined way of creativity, even in her fiery energy. And as a fiery element, there still can be a focus and a determination in one particular direction. But the Page of Wands is saying that there's room for some new expression of identity, even in a place of maturity and wisdom, perhaps even too, with the Queen of Wands. So let's see what else we got, because that's where I was going next before the interruption. My energy's a little strange now, which I'm definitely taking note of, but we're going to just keep it moving. All right, so the Queen of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles is here. So this is, let me get one more. Oh, I'm not gonna take that, but let's just say, yeah, and it would have been upside down too. Some opportunity or missed opportunity, or maybe not, a lack thereof, or some lack of rejection. I don't know. I wasn't feeling that energy anyway, so I won't even try to make it fit. But then we got the Ten of Swords, which is someone being very, I'm hearing anxious, eager, paranoid with the Nine of Swords. About what? Let's go back, or let's make some room for more. Damn, can we just get a reading where we can just shine without this extra energy? Like, it's so intrusive at this point. It's like, it's given misery loves company, and this projection of like, don't forget about me, I'm over here crying. You know those types of energies. Thankfully, my kid was never like this, but like a kid that, now he is very vocal about when there's a discomfort. It has to be made clear that that's what's going on. But he was never the kid that was just like crying for attention, like, I can't explain it, but just want, maybe even amplifying the cry a little bit more because you just want somebody, or the sulking or the sadness because you want somebody to say, "What's wrong, baby? What's the matter? Is everything okay?" That's what this energy is giving me. That's what this energy is giving me right now. It's like Queen of Wands is over here looking at the Ten of Pentacles, some type of abundant expression, maybe off of this new maybe this new opportunity is leading to some prosperous result or reward. With the Ten of Pentacles, it's going to be something very productive and prosperous, promising for sure, maybe even something that will secure a long-term future. And somebody is over here crying over spilled milk. Ultimately, I'm sorry, I feel very indifferent to this energy right now. I'm actually not sorry, like sorry, not sorry type of vibes, but that's what it's giving me. And even given the interruption, yeah, let's see well, that's kind of a lot, but oh, okay, yeah, see, because somebody played themselves out of position, and it's like, here's the Four of Wands, which would have been some stability or, harmony, balance, peaceful existence. And it's also practically a home. I am going to take this. I'll just move everything down. And I apologize because when I look back at the videos, I see that even with my best efforts, it's usually not all that straight, especially once I come down a bit. And it's because the corners are bent, so I can't really see over the top to see when they're still a little, I'm only really able to see from the bottom. And it's just like virtually impossible for me to get it straight to my liking. So if you're like me and you like to look at, Nice straight lines. You're going to have to forgive me till I get some new cards, or feel free to donate. Because I would love some new cards. I'm well overdue for some at this point. But anyway, yeah, so we got the Queen of Swords. And look, that's the indifference that I was just feeling. Wow, that's funny. Like, very emotionally detached. Like, come on. You know, like, especially with the Five of Swords here. This is definitely giving the vibes that you did this to yourself. Whatever this is, it's nobody else's problem or responsibility. It's on whomever this is to take accountability for why they're feeling these energies of despair here, why they're so stuck in their head about perhaps what hasn't even really happened yet, quite honestly. And you know what I'm getting? This person, because right after this is the Four of Wands, this person is really upset about the opportunities that someone else is going to have. Not even so much about his damn self, because the Five of Swords is pissing me off. The Five of Swords is like jealousy and envy. And it's good that the Queen of Swords is here to match it, because it's like not even moved by it. Even though I'm agitated right now, the Queen of Swords is detached. Like, she's not so emotionally baited into response or reaction. It's kind of just like, what are we doing here? Why are you here? What can I help you with? If it doesn't make sense, it's going to be dismissed one way or another. And that's even the inflection or projection of said envy and jealousy. It doesn't even really penetrate her being, quite honestly, as a Queen of Swords, because it's like you can almost see it for a mile away for exactly what it is, but it has no true merit in the reality of her life. So it's like, I'm not even really going to give it a stage, it's like you don't even get an audience with me in that vibration, because as I said, that's not her problem. Maybe it's not your problem how people feel. I was going to say indifferent, but it's not even indifference. It's very clearly obstinate against or toward your potential success. New opportunities, new adventures, new invitations for you to expand a platform that that's what is given with the Queen of Wands. It's like you already have established a platform of sorts. You may be an artist. This is like Leo energy, but any fire sign. You may be an artist. You may be of any type, so I won't run down the list. You may be... honestly, it doesn't even really call for it to necessarily be artistic per se, but that you have a certain artistic flair in whatever you do, and whatever that is, being unique to you and well embraced by your own natural passion, because that's truly the life force behind it, is something that ultimately attracts, as the Queen of Wands does, wealth, abundance, more opportunities, more support, more energetic advancement in some way, shape, or form with the Pentacle energy here. And is sustainable is financially sustainable, but also is sustainable for a fortified future as well, as the Ten of Pentacles is long-term stability, generational wealth, and so on and so forth. So this is what keeps somebody up at night. Just the sheer fact, and it may or may not be that you may be doing better than them, but it's certainly that you're doing well at all. Like, somebody literally has nightmares about you having a harmonious life. How sick is that? It's ridiculous. It's one thing it's not like jealousy is kind of like one of those human experiences that everyone can account for at some point in time in their life. It's like, oh, you see something and you wish you had it. But it's another thing when this person may not necessarily even want what you have. They may, I don't know. But what they really don't want is for you to have it. That's just envy on a much deeper level. And that's the stuff that diabolical plots and plans are made of, to pretty much be an obstructive force in the prosperity of a person that has nothing to do with their path, but just simply on the strength that they can't stand to see you happy and healthy and secure in your own divine right and your own pure passions. The Queen of Wands is not really competing with anyone else's passion. And this is saying that there's a certain lane that has been committed to because it's the queen, that it's like the saying, like, your gifts make room for you. So this is like somebody that's purely organically following a certain path that is energetically insightful for her and her alone, perhaps, and also willing to be inspired to new expressions of that passion. Completely self-contained and self-assured. And this is someone that's looking upon and as I said, this is the potential of somebody here is upset about the potential of you living a happy, healthy, wealthy life. So much so that they're willing to do something to stop it, or at least have intentions to do so, or perhaps already have, all of that. But it seems that if there was some plan to do something against, it hasn't worked out quite as intended, because somebody's still up at the fact that this is still a possibility for you. Maybe even inevitable at this point. Because here we are with yet another Queen of Swords who's far more protective of her mental force field, if nothing else, who is not, and you could even be like, say when you find out that you have enemies or you have opposition, just the idea alone that somebody is hating on you in a way that just doesn't even make sense can sometimes throw off your manifestation force if you let it. Even that projection alone could just put you in the wrong force field to be maybe even extra paranoid. You then be paranoid about who's coming after me, who's trying to steal from me, who doesn't want me to make it, who doesn't believe in me. But the Queen of Swords is not moved by any of that, thankfully. The Queen of Swords is like, that sounds like a you problem. Like, off with your head, not mine. Mine is screwed on straight forward. I'm still looking at my truth and still being able to see you objectively as well. And maybe even having some understanding for why a person might feel some expression. Like, I have always had understanding for projections of jealousy, from a personal perspective. And it doesn't really bother me so much. In my past life, which wasn't that long ago, it would incite me to want to kind of like be more of a Queen of Cups and exhibit more compassion, more love, like almost show a person why, like, there's no need to be jealous. Like, let me show you how you have this, like, you have just as much potential and promise as I do by mirroring to people exactly how I feel about them, which is never false, because I can't lie. Queen of Swords, I can't really lie, but so much. But the reality of how I see people at their best has, honestly, that's always kind of been a gift. And sometimes it felt like a curse, but it's always been a gift for me personally to want to project to a person the absolute highest potential that I see for them. Whether it be, and the curse part is that sometimes I could see more for a person than they're willing to accept of themselves, as the horns are blaring out here somewhere, if you can hear it. But and sometimes I feel like that may have to my detriment, incited more of a dissension, because it's like, it almost flares up that spirit if someone is not willing to extinguish it themselves. It's like, you literally, like I said, it's a you problem. You can't help anyone, because it usually has absolutely nothing to do with you in the first place. When somebody's looking at who you are, the potential that you have, what you may already be in possession of, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with that person's self-esteem, self-awareness, and self-assuredness. So you can't really dig in there and, surgically remove that, even with kind words and affirmations, because it's a rooted spirit that can only be pulled out from someone's willingness to see it for what it is, like to see themselves in that truth. And a lot of times those that have those types of energies, which is why it's the Five of Swords here, which is more of a sneaky energy towards you, like a sneaky opposition. He's not really willing. Well, the Seven of Swords too, but it's like, this is like the frenemy type of vibes, where they're close enough to kind of keep tabs on what you're doing and see exactly what's working for you, but also celebrate what's not, whatever that disparity may be, and almost insert themselves where they find opportunity to kind of help you along the way to more failure than success. That's the energy here. Or at least that's really more Seven of Swords, where it's more active, I guess. But it's the cell of a Seven of Swords, because this is the energy that may start off small, like, damn, I wish I had her house or her hair or her talent or her parents or her ambition, her drive. The Queen of Wands energy is definitely a magnet, for as much as they are a magnet for motivate. They kind of motivate energy. Sometimes they can also be intimidating as well, and can almost magnetize this spirit of jealousy toward them, simply just off of their pure ambition, because not everybody is privy to that natural spark of drive and courage and confidence and boldness that a lot of fire sign, or people that have fire energy heavily in their chart, project. So it's like I said, it's a natural order of things, that it's like, you can't necessarily hate people for feeling the way that they feel more so about themselves than they even do about you. But what you can do is protect yourself from being vulnerable to even the potential of create. This is the mindset of jealousy, but then you want to be careful not to put yourself in a sitting duck position, to be vulnerable to the action of it, where people do, want to win at all costs, or just like I said, don't want you to win or do better than them, or do it before them, or whatever the competition may be. It's usually a matter of in this person's own head than it actually truly exists or persists in real life. And although that may be true for you, the point of protection may simply be disconnection. And sometimes, unfortunately, as I said, in my own experiences, I've tried to pull people even closer that I felt might even feel a twinge of, I wish I had what she had. Like, no, you got something great on your own. Let me show you. And let me show you how I can be a supportive friend to, undergird whatever that ambition or whatever that passion or projection of talent or spark may be, that we don't even have to compete with each other. It ain't even necessary, because you got some stuff that I don't have, and that's okay too, But sometimes, unfortunately, you can put yourself in a line of fire. And the best thing to do for you and for whomever may be the oppositional force is to disconnect. So, like I said, they can discover the origins or the root of that energy for themselves and pull it out. You know, you can't, because some people are celebrating for you and some people are celebrating against you. And it was very hard to know the difference in lifetimes past. But now it's becoming, and I'm talking about everybody, energetically, it was hard to know the difference. But now it's become more clear through experience. And it will certainly become clear on account of this new opportunities, emerging opportunities, as to who is for you and who is not. Who's just here for a good time and perhaps even to bear witness or even contribute to a bad time for you if you let them get close enough to do so. You know, you kind of like in this season, I almost pulled this out, but I don't think I'm gonna pull it. But yeah, you gotta be mindful of, you kind of gotta be in the Queen of Swords, like, because sometimes the energies may be family, friends, or people that you held in high honor or had great respect for, that you feel like, well, little old me, what are you tripping about me for? Like, you with all this and that and that, like, you running down the list of the things that you may admire, which is okay to be admirable or even inspired by someone else's accomplishments, accolades, or whatever, affluence, whatever the case may be. Here it is right here, but still haven't, this is perfect, because it's still, there's an admiration for a position of prosperity. But this is someone that still is quite satisfied with who they are, and that is willing to work in light of that inspiration to add value to what they've already accomplished. That's someone that you can trust to be celebrating with you, because you can inspire each other. It's not working on a way to stop you or block you from fulfilling your life's missions or having, wish fulfillment and your heart's desires. It's like, wow, I like that. I see how she did that, or I see how she uses this to manifest that, or whatever. Like, I see how she's grown with the Queen of Pentacles. This is someone that very tangibly has manifested a certain affluence, that is undeniable in some way. And it's like to be inspired to see what you have, to take inventory of what you have, to put you in a position to create your own brand of that, and then to go ahead and invest the time and energy to do it. That's a positive force to be reckoned with in your own right, and also to contribute collectively to a, like, more of a corporal success, where, because you're so ambitious to build your legacy, you have something to bring to the table, and then we could put that stuff together, and then we all, we're all elevating to new heights and new levels, but we're not there yet. We may be on our way. Certainly, if I have anything to do with it, I know differently now as to sacrifice myself for the sake of corporal success. However, it doesn't mean that I don't still have a heart and a mind and an ambition for it. As a matter of fact, that's me more in the ambition right here, like determined to bring more celebration into the realm, and for more people to be able to celebrate themselves, at least in the direct ways that I can make an impact, personally. But I know that when you do that, it can be contagious, because then other people will be inspired to create that momentum in their own lives, when you're touching the right people that actually want to be touched, not the people that want to just touch your stuff or keep you from touching it. It's just like, that's not productive for anybody, because the person here in the Five of Swords, it's like, even if they keep you from getting it, it doesn't mean they're any more privy to it, which people have learned from their past transgressions, that have been particularly ambitious about creating roadblocks and maybe even stealing other people's opportunities and fortunes and things like that, and just creating obstructions for others to connect to their own God-given opportunities. It hasn't really fared much of a return for that investment. It's still somebody sitting here holding their head about the inevitable, that even with their best efforts, they still couldn't quite stop. And now it's to the point where people that have that more or less have like contributed to that way of being are in positions now where they're more in despair to actually need the inspiration that they opposed, even the resources that they tried to block and obstruct. Now they're in a position to actually need that communal creativity to some degree, but people are not as open to share anymore. Like I said, once upon a time, I could sense the vibes, the vapors, like the song says, old hip hop song. But you could sense the vapors, and you would either curve your way around it or try to extinguish it with more love, more patience, more passion, and honestly, like, not even just like, there was probably some level of self-depreciation there, if I'm honest with myself, of what I truly deserved in terms of exchange. But holistically speaking, I could see past the spirit and know that it was unnecessary. It was fruitless, So if I could have a bit more patience with hopefully giving someone else the opportunity and the grace to discover that for themselves, and we could both be on our merry little way, whatever that may be. But it's like, that never really proved to be most productive for either one. That put you in more vulnerable of a state, and really put people in a dishonest position of power, where they could ultimately find themselves in this pitfall of their own, foul ambitions. Didn't really work for anybody, Here it is, this entitlement here, someone that feels on the outside looking into these celebrations, these moments of, where there is congratulations in order in some way, shape, or form. There's still a lingering energy here of those that haven't quite come to the realization that the door is open for them to get it on by their own merit at this point. Like, it can no longer, here's the message, here's the, oh, look at this, and this here's the opportunity. And I even felt like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. This is the opportunity, but where they're trying to invest it in places that have already been, where bridges have been burned at this point, more or less, it's kind of unfortunate, because it's like a little bit too late at this point, where someone, and to be honest, I don't get the sense with this offer or message that it's anything purely sincere. It's coming from the nature of this spirit of entitlement here, and this aggression to kind of want to almost force your way into someone else's fortune to some degree. But once again, that avenue is blocked because it's not pure, it's not productive. This is like somebody now wanting to come back to the table like, hey, look, we got something in common. I'm working on this too. Can can I add this nugget to, to the whatever? Like, I can't even say what it is and what it's trying to contribute to, because it's so insignificant in this regard with the Page of Pentacles. It's like, it's the best they can come up with, because they've more or less, spent their worth on poor investments. But even in the practical sense, it just doesn't make sense, So it's like, even if you wanted to say, well, it's a good old friend, old buddy, old pal, and they look like they've turned over a new leaf, it's like what they have to offer doesn't even really fit into what you're growing or stepping into, because they spent their energy in one capacity while you were building your personal prosperity in a totally different way. There's like a complete misalignment now. And it's like, no, not even no shade. And this could be in a business sense, as I'm kind of grazing about, but it could also be very much so energetically or relationally, as I'm saying, like family and friends that now see your potential differently, or see maybe the error of their ways or their perspective even differently. But it's still kind of like, you kind of gotta still be guarded a bit, because it's the best that they can come up with, but that doesn't mean it's ideal for you and who you are, who you've become, and who you're becoming. Someone that still even has a hint of this energy of entitlement, like they feel like because they're family or friends, or we used to be neighbors we was neighbors for 10 years, or this is a relationship, old partner, like, come on, who was there for you when type of vibes, because people love to do that. They love to bring up some old stuff, that now they should be privy to your prosperity, even with them appearing to have something to add value to it. What's the Page of Pentacles to the 10? It's like, it don't make dollars or cents, and it certainly doesn't make emotional sense or energetic sense. As a matter of fact, the only cups here are the Three of Cups that are established, proven energies that are celebrating with you and in favor of your progression in life. Those that have proven otherwise don't get to now change faces and say, oh yeah, we was rooting for you all along, or I know it didn't seem like it, but we just didn't get the vision then, but now we do now, and we want to support, we want to be a part, and we want to add to it, we want to help you. Like, thanks, but where was that energy when I needed it most? When it was just a page of an inspiration, literally a small little idea, and nobody was feeling me and nobody could see. And it's like, it's cool, everybody doesn't have to see or get it, but certainly it's funny because I was thinking about this today. It's one thing, as I said, about the envy and jealousy and the inflection between, which is a very thin line, but it matters. But it's one thing for people not to understand you, for them not to get where you're coming from, let alone where you think you're going. It's another thing for somebody to try to block you and all out stop you from achieving any materialization of your ambitions. That's a totally different spirit. And if there's evidence of that, even if it's because this is sword energy, so this could be just a matter of people talking about you, wishing ill upon you even in their projections about you, let alone actually telling lies, slandering, sharing half-truths or mistruths about who you truly are and who they actually know you to be. Not even just like speculation, because that's in another box. That's kind of like the envy, jealousy thing where they may not get you, so they just made up a story or they can't come up with some narrative in their own mind. That's, again, a them problem, because everybody has to answer for the energy that they project. But it's another thing when you go out of your way to be an opposing force towards someone that's really just minding their own business. There's a certain level of return energy that one can expect. And even if it's nothing more than the door that you closed on someone is now closed to you, that's fair game. It's fair enough. It don't even need to be like vindictive, like, oh, now here you come. And it's like, no, it's cool. I understand you didn't get it. You didn't get me. I wasn't your cup of tea. You didn't see the vision. You didn't, you felt a little bit disturbed by the luck that you thought I had, because that's what it can be sometimes too, with people thinking that you got it easy, or that it's just unfair, like how they get a thing and you get a thing, or that they don't have access to the thing that you have. And it's just like, I get it. I truly do get it. But what I don't have to do anymore is be got by it. If you feel me. I don't have to be a victim to that anymore. And that's the Two of Swords here, like blocked. Any energies now, it's literally too little too late, that presented themselves to be a challenge, the ops, the naysayers, outright liars and slanderers, even the speculators, or the ones that entertained the gossip when they knew better, or when they could have done their due diligence to research and educate themselves otherwise. They rather, absorb the juicy scandal too, or juicy gossip too. Like there's an answer for that. Like all of it matters when it comes down to it. Nothing is meaningless. Nothing is. So let's see what we got here. I really just want 2 more if I can get it, but let's see. Yeah, here's the community sharing, the 2 of Wands. So this is balance. Yeah, like what this is giving me is the equal balance, equal give and take. Like what you put out is what you're going to receive. So those that position themselves a certain way, they made a certain choice, and some were over ambitious in how they handled you. They handled your energy, handled your ideas, handled themselves, because the Knight of Wands can be a bit reckless. Like this would be the one with the propensity to be a bit jealous. No, that's more so the Knight of Swords, I feel like, but it definitely could be someone that has a lust for something that is unreasonable, or inflated. Let's say that's a bit inflated. And then what do they do but put a plan into action to take matters of justice into their own hands? Like, I should have that, really try to determine and dictate who should get what. Most importantly, to tip the scales more in their favor than anyone else's. Yeah, I'm not taking that. But that's what it is. And that was almost the 10 of Swords, because anybody operating in that position, whether they realize it or not, or whether it's materialized yet or not, has more or less sabotaged themselves, because you put yourself out of position to be a part of something great and dynamic by being opposed to it. Now you have absolutely no chance of being a part. And that was the World card, 2 endings. And the Sun card, because you made yourself an enemy of it. And it came out again anyway. 10 of Swords. That's crazy. Let's get one more and I'm out of this energy, because this is the fact that I got interrupted the way that I did, which I won't even share, but it put, like, the way I started this message before I had to stop, in the very beginning organically, was a completely different energy than what I came back to. And this is probably why, because it's like people just out here drinking their water and minding their business. And this is certainly betrayal here. This is slander, lies. It's more communicative than anything, but it could have been physical manifestation of obstinance here, to literally try to do something to cause somebody harm. But it's more so an attack on someone's character when we're talking about swords. So this isn't just like little white lies. This is like somebody just outright like on all-out attack on somebody's character, saying things that they know there absolutely no merit for. That, and also the craftiness, especially with the Knight of Swords, the craftiness, and with the Two of Swords, is like you don't even know this type of talk is these type of discussions are being had about you, but it was somebody that took it upon themselves, like not even took it upon themselves, they went out of their way, as a matter of fact, to make sure that they spread the word about you far and wide. And that's the problem. That's why they're still so distressed, because all that energy that was expelled, every lie that was told, and it still didn't keep you from the potential, your greatest potential. It still didn't keep you even from living a harmonious and balanced life, and also from being, it still didn't cause you to be any more bothered about it than you were in the beginning. Because for many of us, we didn't even know certain word gossips and things were circulating about us. Some of us know intuitively, as I can personally attest to, that you can feel the energy. I it's crazy, like, and I'm getting chills as I'm saying it because I've never shared this before, but I could hear conversations. I could hear people saying my name, and what it really is less of a hearing, it's more of a feeling. But there were absolutely times when, I'll be even more specific, right? When, I'll say an associate of mine, I won't say if they were family or friend, but a very close associate of mine, for some reason, I could always hear and feel that she was speaking about me in a very negative way. Now, I happen to know that she was in therapy, so I felt like, well, maybe she's just getting some things out. She's releasing, getting to the root of her things. And so maybe I just come up, I kind of distanced myself from it. I literally didn't take it offensively. I didn't make it any more than what, I had more or less logisticalized it to be, which was her working through her truth. But the feeling that I felt ended up materializing in it being more of a threat than what I had it probably wanted to project it to be, where there was much more ambition and passion put behind those words. To be honest, like, I'd never even quite holistically, well, that's not true. Some things I could feel, like, if you're intuitive, then you hear certain things, but it's not like an audible hearing. You just, like, a certain truth will come up into you, and you'll be like, so that's what so-and-so said, or that's how she feel, or that's what that was about, and it's just like, you just know, and you don't know how you don't know where the information comes from, and that's usually the gateway for people to treat you like you're a little bit crazy, or gaslight you, like, what, me? I love you. What do you mean? I never type of energy, when it's like, but I know that feeling that I had. And because I knew the feeling physically, like, I knew what jealousy and envy looked like, just in sometimes the way that people look at you or how they respond when you share some good news or something positive. You can glaze over it, but you never can truly dismiss that feeling. Is how I learned to trust myself when I got that inkling and it made no sense as to why I had it. Like me almost hearing conversations about me, which turned out it wasn't just limited to therapy. It was much more expansive than that. This was like a whole campaign against me, but I could hear it, I could feel it, I could sense it. And bridging that gap between knowing what it actually looks like is what laid the foundation for me to trust my intuition when it mattered most, ultimately, because it would have been a matter of a true, well, it was already a betrayal, but it could have been something even more fatal for me had I not listened to that inclination to say, no, you need to protect yourself and completely detach. Otherwise there would have been really no evidence. There would have been no cause, like no, what's the word, probable cause for me to make the judgment call that I made, except for me trusting what I felt. And sometimes, especially in this day and age, what you feel is the only protection that you have. The Queen of Cups is not on here, but I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know. Yeah, and here is again, even amidst the betrayal, even amidst the sabotage, the hate campaign against you. What's it called? The that narcissistic term. What is it? Flying monkeys is one aspect of it. There was a little bit of that in my experience too. But it's called something. Dang, I'm gonna be mad at myself when I stop and I realize and I hear it, I remember what it is. But it's like it's I think it is something campaign. But it's not hate. It's like it's in the vein of slander, pretty much, where like I said, people make it their business, or someone makes it their business to try to turn as many people against you or to tarnish your character or your other people's perception of you with words, whether it be lies. Usually is lies. Even if it is some truth to it, it could just be telling your actual business that you shared with them in confidence. But even with that, there's usually no true satisfaction in that. Once people get to this point in time, they got to take it to the next step and add a little sauce on, a little spice to the pot. You know what I mean? Like they got to add something to it. So usually it'll be something that I don't think I actually finished that statement, where it's somebody that will not just lie about you, but craft words or craft narratives in such a way that it almost seems like, well, that has to be true. First of all, because of who's saying it, because it's like, well, why would that person lie? And then they make themselves credible by their what do you call it? Their proximity to you, like their closeness or intimacy in your relationship. And then they add the spice onto it in just enough way that it even if you wouldn't want to believe it, like I said, you kind of want the juice more than you would even want to go just do your own research or go investigate yourself, or maybe go back and ask that person, like, yo, is this true? Or such and such said. Like, nobody in my life ever came back to me and asked, was X, Y, and Z true? Did this really happen? Nobody, and that's what I'm saying about there being different layers of involvement and engagement. Like everybody, maybe it wasn't the person that actually started the rumor or started the narrative, but the people that listened to it and carried it on to the next, and it became, a gossip carrying in the streets, and then it took on a life of its own. Like everybody has a hand in it, because at no point in time, the people that so-called cared for me, did any of them come back and say, yo, I heard this, or I thought that, or this is what, you know, has been implied, or this is what is out there. I thought you should know. Nobody. And hence why I am the Queen of Swords that I am today. People took more pleasure in considering the narratives as they added on to it or creating them, whichever category they fell into, than they did to actually dispel them. And I'm sure there were probably some that may or may not have, you know, defended me in their own way. I say that loosely in quotes. Maybe in their projection, they thought they were defending me. But for the most part, the greatest defense would have been to expose the truth, especially to the source or the intended target, who, in my own personal experience, oftentimes was completely unaware, at least, you know, unaware for all human intents and purposes, right? So it's just interesting how it all unfolds, because I'm very, you know, forward in my knowing now, you know, like it's not a secret to me or anyone else. Like most people at this point know, like, don't even come over here with that. It's too little, too late. And that's really unfortunate, because everyone that I ever allowed to get close to me, no matter what the outcome may have been or is, I loved, and honestly still love very, very much. So it's their loss if that connection or bridge has been burned at this point. Yeah, because I'm done with those burdens. I'm not, there comes a point in time where you can't carry people's bags for them anymore. We got enough bags to carry on our own. I had to get through the roots of why I felt that I was deserving of friendships and relationships that weren't so gracefully reciprocal to me as I was, you know, like overly so for them. I had to figure out why it was that I felt like an imbalance was just the natural ordinance of life for me. Like, oh, you good, you already have so much, you know, the least you could do is be a good friend. You could be patient, you could be graceful, you could overlook that inflection in the tone when you said something good happened or when you shared some good news. You can overlook the fact that you don't even feel comfortable sharing good news anymore because you already know what it incites. Like, that doesn't matter. Just share it with yourself. You'll be good. You could overlook the fact that you can't really share the reality of the spiritual transformation that you're experiencing because people will think you're crazy, or they'll, you know, laugh at you or whatever. Like, you can overlook that, even though people could tell you anything and everything. You never judge them, you know, never make them feel bad about it. You're okay. You don't need that exchange. Just keep being a good friend. Those were the bags that I had to carry, and that was friends, family, and foes. I had to learn how to put that energy down for myself, let alone what I was carrying for other people. Nobody has time for that in this season. Yeah. And how did I do that? By internal reflection, internal discovery, being real and honest with myself, having to shine that light on those dark, deep spaces of truth that I didn't want to see about myself, let alone about other people, things that I couldn't overlook anymore. That just wouldn't allow me to turn a blind eye anymore, because they were creating roadblocks for me. I had to take authority, mastery over my own ascension if I ever wanted to step into it. And that meant that I had to release a lot of luggage, along the way. And everything is not comfortable. It still isn't, to be disconnected, like I said, to certain people that I thought I would never be disconnected from. And I'm open, as the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords is, to the possibilities of reconnection in their purest form. But what's on the other side of the Queen of Swords? There's still Five of Swords here. Somebody's still armed and dangerous and ready to attack at a moment's notice. Not because you did anything, but just simply because they're still battling with themselves and the truth that they refuse to accept. That's dangerous territory. That will lead you to a Ten of Swords, and you won't have anybody else to blame but yourself for sabotaging yourself simply by way of exposure. The Chariot card is here because moving forward is imminent. I mean, we started with the highest vibration. Queen of Wands, Ten of Pentacles, like, come on. A masterful manifester and reproductive manifester. That means you can take an opportunity and multiply it. And for there to be a reward of prosperity of a tangible nature attached to it. It's like doing what you love and not just getting paid for it, but being wealthy, just doing you and being you. That's what these two energies are. It's unfortunate, but some people don't see their own potential to walk in that light. So when you do, it either feels like a threat or it feels like a pale reflection of their own shortcomings. When everyone is privy to be successful in the right will and force and strength and focus in that same regard, everybody, I don't care who you are, has the potential and propensity to be wealthy. And that don't mean like money's flowing out of your ears, but that means to be completely fulfilled, secure, stable, everything, materially taken care of, maybe then some, of course, with the Ten of Pentacles, but definitely a secure foundation and a projection of the future just by being yourself, by engaging those energies and talents that you maybe have suppressed as meaningless or, like I said, like, I don't know if I said it in this one or the last one, where you almost take it for granted, the energy that you project naturally, natural talent to do a certain thing, and you love to do it. That's the great thing about the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands, that synergy there of just pure passion. And even when you're starting off as a novice, being so excited by it and engaged in it that you're willing to see it through to its maturity and advancement to the point where then it becomes an attractive, prosperous force. Everyone has that. Everyone has that potential in the right mindset. And it doesn't happen by looking at what somebody else is doing and how somebody else is doing it and feeling like, well, I feel like not only do I want to do it like them, but that they shouldn't even do it like them. It's like, what? Do you, boo? Please, everyone, do what makes you happy until you surrender. And in this world, in this society, it does feel like more of a surrender than a submission because there's a lot of opposition against that mindset of why you shouldn't do you and why you don't have what it takes to do you, let alone be you, and that you need to do something else that would secure you. And like, until you can be warrior here with the Chariot card over that mentality, it will always be an internal struggle that projects itself to be an external one. You'll feel like everything and everyone else is against you. and it will incite you to take steps and precautions that actually lead you further away from that feeling of fulfillment. Energetic fulfillment, passion to the brim. Follow that. It's very unique to everyone. It doesn't look like anything else. And if you're looking outside of yourself for anything less than inspiration, I'll say, then you're on the wrong track, period. Just period. And if you're worried about anybody else getting it before you or more than you or in spite of you or without you, like, you are in the wrong force field altogether. So take it as you will. The Chariot card faces forward. It's a forward march. And it's a one-man army, because that journey to one's purest passion, when it all comes down to it, is a very solo, solitary one. So, all right, and you better pack light for it, mind you, because that's the other thing. You may have the mind and the ambition to get there, the map and everything, but if you're carrying other people's baggage with you, you won't get far very fast at all. All right, so here's to Ascension Mastery with the Hermit card here. I love that energy for us. And let us that are walking in that way continue to be guided in the light that leads from the internal force of us all. In spirit and in truth, it is so, and so it is. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.